Jobs to Move America, along with the Columbia Labor Lab, released a report about prison labor in Hyundai-Kia's supply chain, particularly in the Montgomery area. Can you talk to us about what some of the key findings were of that report?
Well, sure. And we got to this point because when we heard about the cases of child labor several years ago, we set out to find what are the other workers in precarious positions that are being profited off of in this supply chain. And pretty quickly, we found incarcerated workers through Alabama's work release system were employed in Hyundai-Kia suppliers. Now, this was going on similar to the issues of child labor in the Montgomery area and down around that area in the Alabama Black Belt. We set out to study the impact of the incarcerated labor in the supply chain, not only on the incarcerated workers themselves, but also on the wages and working conditions for all free world workers in those supply chain locations as well. And so Jobs to Move America set out to survey auto supplier workers in the region, and we wound up surveying 650 auto supply chain workers last year and handed that data over for analysis to Columbia Labor Lab. The top line finding in the report is actually that a 10% increase in the share of incarcerated workers at a plant was associated in the study with a 10 to 14% drop in wages for all workers in that plant. We also found that overall, workers in the Hyundai-Kia supply chain reported earning 10 to 15% less than other auto supply chain workers in Alabama. Workers also reported in this survey experiencing more health and safety hazards and negative experiences like wage theft, forced overtime, and harassment.
Hyundai utilizing prison labor. Why does that bring down wages for free world workers?
Well, I think it's really important to point out at the outset that this is not the incarcerated workers' fault. They are part of a system that private companies benefit off of in Alabama. So Alabama has a work release system, which is a bit of a misnomer. This is not a system that is designed to prepare workers or incarcerated people for release, such as a transitional center that you might see in another state. These are work camps. In many cases, they're co-sited. They're on the same sites as camps where workers generations ago built the state's highway system. To get a little bit into the weeds, the state requires that incarcerated workers make the same wages as the folks that they're working right alongside, free world workers. And since the state requires that they make the same, the low wages that are afforded to the incarcerated workers kind of percolate out through the rest of the plants. And that's how we get to this finding. I'd encourage everybody to go read the report, but that's how we get to this finding that a 10% increase in the share of incarcerated workers at a plant is associated with a 10 to 15% drop in wages for all workers at that plant.